Hello, everyone! Today, we will give you a brief introduction. The usage of various cameras in whale twins. When we create a project, by default, we will create a bird's eye camera for you first. So, what about the bird's eye camera? It has some basic settings. Let's first take a look at how many kinds of cameras we have, which are bird's eye view, follow, roam, and first person. The bird's eye following is basically as the name suggests. It's the effect we have now. The principle of bird's eye view camera is that I'll first focus on a point. And this point is our target. Then we rotate around this point up, down, left, and right. There are 3 rotation angles in total. Let's take a look at the current view. Horizontal rotation angle, vertical rotation angle, and target distance. There are 2 rotation angles and a target distance. This is the zoomed target distance. At the bottom, we have a camera, the specific position of the target. Sometimes we may feel that this position is wrong. Most likely because the position is wrong. Let's take a look. Let's set it to 10. Let's challenge 100. As you can see, when I rotate it, I always feel something is wrong. That's because the camera target position is wrong. It's in the air. It's rotating around. It's rotating at this 100 meters in the air. So it feels wrong. Sometimes, some projects are created. There may be a situation of y-axis offset. So we changed it to 0. Just change it back. Okay, this is the basic perspective setting. A basic perspective setting. Well, we hold the middle button of the 2 cameras. It moves left and right like this, which we call panning. But everyone should note that. Is that our camera? The camera itself has a default setting. The farther I drag, the stronger the panning effect will be. The closer, the effect of left and right. The effect of moving left and right will be weaker. Why do we do this? It's because especially in some sacrificial scenes, you can take a look. It will be very obvious. If in the particles, if the whole panning effect, the effect is the same. Then when it moves in the air, it will be very difficult to move. Wait a minute. Let me adjust this. I'll adjust the time back. Okay, let's take a look. Hey, I should be in roaming camera mode now. Okay, let me switch to bird view. Oh, actually, it's every time it moves. See that? When I move left and right, it moves very little. But when I move to a very far place, oh, the movement is actually very large, but you feel the same amount of movement. That's because we basically move according to the screen space. To move according to the size of the screen space, it makes you feel like the operation is the same. Actually, when after zooming out, the operation will. It has actually moved a lot. This is the basic usage of our bird's eye view, the basic usage of the camera. Let's take a simple look for all cameras. Let's take a look at the first two parameters of the camera, especially the first parameter. It's very important for all cameras. It is our z-axis distance. The so-called z-axis distance is the camera can see 1 meter at the nearest, and the farthest can see 10,000 meters. Why is it very important? That is to say, when the farthest is very, very far away. At this time, everything in the picture will start to shake. That's because of our depth, which means in the process of rendering. Depth buffering in the rendering process. There will be a lack of precision. So you just need to remember one thing. Assuming this distance is very large, to this size, then I will increase the distance of the z-axis. Because at this time, I am already very far away. I don't need to set the z-axis distance to 1 meter, because I almost never, my face is almost touching it. But in normal cases, you can just use the default settings. Sometimes for some too large fields, or relatively small scenes, we try to make it smaller. Note that the difference between these two values, the smaller the better. Everyone should set it to the minimum according to their project. In this way, there will be no problems. There won't be any problems with accuracy. This is the same for all of us. Let's add other cameras to see. Let's take a look. All cameras have this z-axis distance. This z-axis distance is the most important. Okay, then let's look at the screen end offset. What does screen end offset mean? Sometimes we need to make a two-dimensional chart. Let's do it. Let's put a kit. Let's see if there is a suitable kit. Let's say this table. Okay, let's put it here. Then we press and hold Alt. And put 4. Let's put 3. At this time, that is, if I still operate in this way, it will feel a little strange. It may not be strange now. Let's drag a few more out. Suppose I have such a layout. Okay, this layout, it may not be strange now. It's a bit strange to operate like this in the picture. So I hope the center points to this position. So how should we operate at this time? That is, in the camera. The midpoint offset. This column offset is for us. This axis is X. And this axis is Y, right? It may be -10. It's in pixels. Let me see. This depends on your specific situation. I'll just... Okay, let's do it again. It may need to be a little more. $200. Okay, we can see that at this time. I feel it's right, although there is still something in my space. But now my entire rotation. The endpoint is already in this position, which makes the whole picture look more harmonious. This is very important. That is to say, many times we are in a situation where, with a layout like this, in such a situation, we need to use this focus. Okay, let's set it back first. The same goes for, that is, the endpoint offset is applicable to all. Is applicable to all cameras? All our cameras can do it. Let's take a look. This curtain is cheap. Let's go back to the bird's eye camera. There is also a zoom limit and vertical angle limit. Zoom limit and vertical angle limit. Zoom limit. As the name suggests, I can zoom in and out. Such an operation. It can zoom in and out as far as possible. I'm zooming in a lot now. In fact, we can pull it too. The level of the Earth, right? Many times we don't actually need to zoom in so much. Our default projects often give you such a large size. It's because we want to test this effect for you. In fact, although these two have little impact on the rendering and performance, but we recommend that you still try to shrink it as much as possible. The smaller the distance between them, the smaller the distance is, the better. Because otherwise, sometimes, when you give it to your users to use, users may put it in a position you didn't expect, which will cause problems with the entire picture. So it's best to limit it. Vertical angle limit. Look, our two cameras can only to here. If we go down further, it won't work. Look at our vertical rotation. Vertical rotation to 80 degrees can't be done. It's because of the 8 number limit here. In fact, we can give it to 90 degrees, or even underground. If we give it a larger value, it can hit the ground. We can look at a 150, like this 150. Okay, you can see, I can look at the sky like this. Why do we default to setting it to 8? Because we don't need to put it underground, because many times we don't do this side. Right, it would be ugly, or we don't want to deduct. Our customers see the scene below. With the same vertical rotation angle, the angle is 1. This is because when I'm like this, it's 1. This point, I suggest you not to change this place. Because when it's 0, there will be some problems with the entire camera when it is looking down from directly above. There will be some problems, so I don't recommend you to turn on this one. Okay, finally, it's our automatic rotation. Let's turn it on. Automatic rotation. As the name suggests, it means the automatic rotation of the camera. It's called automatic rotation. There are also some parameters. For example, if we set it to 0.1, the rotation speed will be slow. At this time, in some scenes where we don't need to control, it will be useful in scenes that need to be displayed. After talking about the basic settings of bird's eye view, let's take a look at its perspective settings. In fact, the perspective setting can be directly make a perspective animation. Let me show you, especially for our GS3D scene. We have a current view now, and our initial view, which is the current view. For example, if I turn it into this, and then I saved it, and when I open it next time, it will still be. It will be the current view. But we can also say a preset perspective. For example, if I turn it like this, I want this item to be like this every time I open it. Then we click Add here. And come here. We have a Get Current View. Okay, and then we change this view to View 1. In this way, after we saved it, no matter how we rotate it, for example, we turn it to the back now and save it. Then we reopen this project. It will still ensure that my original initial view is the one I just obtained instead of the final position, the final perspective I moved to. Let's take a look. This is the perspective. Of course, it's truncated here. It's because I set the z-axis very short just now, so it will be truncated. Let's go back and take a look. Like the z-axis in the camera's z-axis. Let's make it a little bigger. Actually, this operation is not good. That is to say, 1000 is not enough. However, but actually 5000 is enough. And don't need to set it to 10,000. Everyone should try to handle this properly. You can see that it's not on the back, but facing here, right? This is the function of our preset perspective. When we switch to this perspective, we can also make animations between them. The simplest animation we can do is, for example, I switch to this perspective now. I remove the current view. Okay, and then I go back to this perspective. We click to switch to this perspective. It will automatically animate. Of course, this animation is adjusted during our testing. We can also use a to control such animations. For example, I'm in this scene now. Let's delete these buttons first. Okay, let's put the button here. Suppose I click this button. I hope it switches to animation, view 2. Let's see how to do it. Click Interaction, then Add. Then there is a customized option here. Then we select our camera. We look at the camera. Select the bird's eye camera. Then we customize the action to be a perspective-changing animation. Then we select Viewpoint 2. Okay, and that's it. We click it. It will switch to View 2. Some people might say, what if I want to click it again? To switch to View 1, such a toggle button. Which is a toggle button? How should I do? We can actually use this, the multi-state function of the button. Let's go back to. Let's click it first and add a state. At this time, if I add a state, so we select this button and add a state to it. The state is called 10 plus 2. With this state, we can see that now. There are 2 states now. We'd better change this state to perspective. Okay. By default, we select this state. When we click on View 1, it will switch to View 2, right? But when we go to the second perspective, we let the interaction play to the first perspective. Okay, let's go to the first perspective. Let's take a look. It will switch to View 2. When we go to Perspective 2, let's take a look. It is in the first perspective. But this is a manual switch. We also need to do automatic switching when I'm in view of 1. After I click the button, I switch to my own state. I select the current button. Switch to View 2. And synchronize with the previous action. When I select View 2, I also added a click. To switch states, select the current component and switch to View 1. Let's go back to the first perspective. Let's see it switch to View 2. We click on the second perspective, and we saw it switch to View 1. Okay, let's click on the first one first. Let's click it first. It switches to View 2. At the same time, it switches its own. And switch to View 2. I clicked again. It needs 10.1. So I can make an automatic state. However, this button, the effect on it hasn't changed. We can also add another effect to the button. We can add another effect to it. That is, when I'm in View 1, we change the text too. Switch to Perspective 1. Second. Okay, and then when I switch to View 2, I'll change it to switch to Viewpoint 1. Okay, let's save it now. Let's take a look at it again. Now the whole state is switching to Viewpoint 2. I clicked it, and the text changes to switch to Viewpoint 1. I clicked it again. I click it. In this way, we can do the entire perspective animation and the animation of the entire perspective, which is a dynamic switch. It's a very practical function. Okay, we've finished talking about our perspectives. Let's take a look at the next one. There is also a control method here. Of course, our default control method is good. If you have special requirements for sensitivity and other special requirements, you can also customize it here. I won't demonstrate it. I recommend you to use the default one because our control is actually has been set up a lot. Finally, we have Light 3D. This is what we will do later. A 3:2 to rendering function, which means we built it in 3 dimensions, but we will present it in a 2-dimensional way. It's a new function. We won't introduce it for now. Okay. Today's first lesson of the bird camera. We'll stop here. Let's first give you a brief introduction to the bird's eye camera. In the later courses, we will introduce other cameras in the later courses.